Hey guys, George here, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're taking a close look at my two Strat style guitars. That's a Nick Johnston Traditional by Schecter and the Fender Stratocaster John Mayer Signature. I want to look at the specs of each guitar, the similarities, the differences. They're both Strats, they'll obviously both do the Stratty thing. But yeah, maybe you'd want one more than the other. Maybe you want a more vintage inspired Strat with these kind of specs, or maybe you want something a little more modern. We'll go over each one and see which one is best for you. First, I want to go over some observations that I had from the soundbite in the intro. So the pickups are pretty different. Again, they're both very Stratty, very glassy, but the John Mayer pickups seem to be a little hotter and they have more of a mid scoop. So although these are not as hot, they're a little bit more present, a little bit more mids to them. So yeah, that's kind of where I see the differences coming in. These overall will have those other frequencies sound a bit fatter, but these will poke through a little bit more and tend to break up the amp less. Overall, I thought they really sound great. What did you guys think about the playing in the intro? Which one did you prefer? I bet you'd be surprised if you like blindfolded yourself and you didn't know which one was which. Which one would you like better? So let's take a look at the specs on both of these. So first, let's start with the Fender. This is pretty much like a vintage spec Strat, like a 60s spec, I'd say. It's got a fatter neck. We'll start there if we're comparing the necks. This one's much chunkier and a bit wider as well. This has a rosewood fretboard. It has a 6-point trem, and the way that it comes set up is with a load of springs and down to the body. So this is not floating, so you'll see that that's an advantage for the other one. I'd say I use it a lot in the intro because I want to go through what each of these excels at, the way that they're set up here. This has jumbo frets, so no tiny frets here. Vintage non-locking tuners. Yeah, and I mean overall it feels very solid. I've had it for a long time and I haven't had any problems with the electronics, the knobs, and I'll show you why I'm saying that in a little bit. It is a bit heavier and it has this chunky little heel right here, which makes it not as comfortable to play higher up as the Schecter. But yeah, overall, it's got like that vintage swagger, that 3-tone sunburst. It's really nice to play. Yeah, this thing's really sweet. It has those Big Dipper pickups that have quite a cult following. So yeah, this is a real nice guitar, and it definitely does the Stratty thing. All right, let's take a look at the Nick Johnston. So this one, instantly, it's a little bit lighter. Has a much thinner neck, and this is roasted maple and then ebony, and it's got these little stealth inlays. I put out a video on the Nick Johnston. It'll be right here if you guys want to check that out for a little more in depth. But yeah, this seems to be a really popular guitar online, and I can definitely see why at the price point. Other things this thing has going for it, more modern. This has locking tuners, which work great. Not that the Fender's doesn't, but just a little added security is nice. This has a 2-point trem, and this is set up where it's floating a bit. So it's just really nice to use. It's a very comfortable trem. One con is that the pots are not great. So the volume pot feels okay. The tone pot is like, they're just not great. You feel the inconsistencies. It's not too old of a guitar, and there's some cracking when you use it. So, I mean, at the price point, I can see they're cutting corners some places, and that's an easy swap out. But yeah, I mean, this has a ton of modern features like we just went over, and take a look at the heel joint, much smaller, easier to play up here. I also elected to go with the single humbucker here because it wasn't something I had. I didn't want another triple single Strat. I figured I'd get a humbucker there. So in this video, I really wanted to compare contrast the stratiness of these guitars. So I'm only using only use the neck pickup in the intro, and I want to do some stratty stuff, some quacky like neck and mid pickup stuff. That's what I think of when I think of a Strat. I think of percussive, rhythmic kind of stuff. Yeah, so let's have a listen to that and see if these guitars can Strat. So yeah, maybe you have an affinity to one over the other. Maybe you like a more modern take on the Strat, or maybe you're a purist and want it to look vintage. I think looks play a big part of it, brand recognition, a lot of that, but really stripped down and just playing these guitars, you're gonna have an awesome experience either way. I'll say this, the Schecter is made in Indonesia and the Fender is made in America. So if you're looking for a more comparable guitar in the price range, you probably want to check out the made in Mexico Fenders. The Vintera series is a good comparison. That's like more vintage spec. So have a look at that if you want a more one-to-one comparison in terms of price. But I think the Schecter definitely held its own against a more expensive instrument. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you more of a vintage inspired guy, or do you like the more modern features? Do you like guitars with some newer updates to them? I really enjoy both of these. Who doesn't like a nice Strat, right? Who doesn't like a nice Strat? Yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys are Strat enjoyers, leave a like down there. It helps the channel out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to be putting out a lot more music and guitar related content in the future. So until next time, see ya.